Last picture, second row. Blondie comes to a fruit stand.
Oh, those delicious-looking berries. They'll be wonderful for canning.
Yes, ma'am, they are. And they look wonderful in jars.
First picture, third row, Blondie exclaims.
I want my husband to see them before I decide.
The berry man picks up 2 cartons of berries.
I'll deliver them personally, Mrs. Bomstad.
Second picture, third row, the berry man comes up to the Bumstead house. The door opens, and Mr. Dithers comes out.
Oh, he's upstairs in the bathtub. First door to your left. Thank you.
Last picture, third row, the berry man appears in the door of the bathroom. Dagwood looks up, sees a bar of soap on the floor.
Hey, watch out for that soap.
But it's too late.
Oh, dear.
And first picture, bottom row, the berries are all over the bathroom. And the berry man is in the tub with Dagwood. Dagwood looks around the room disgustedly. The berry man says sweetly,
Well, where do you keep your broom? I'll help you clean it up. I'm not going to clean it up. I'm going to get dressed and go to the movies.
An hour later, Blondie, back from shopping, looks through the house for Dagwood. She comes into the bathroom, and she sees berries on the floor, in the tub, on the walls, and on the ceiling. And she goes...
Someday I'm going to stay home and see what goes on around here while I'm away.
Oh.
Poor Dagwood. He didn't have much peace and quiet, did he?
No, he didn't. And didn't Blondie look surprised when she saw her berries in the bathtub?
Yes. What will she do with them?
Run the cold water out, run the hot water in, and make berry sauce in the bathtub.
Oh, that's funny. Make berry sauce in the bathtub.
Now let's turn over the page. And look, on page 3 of the second section, there's Donald Duck.
Oh, my favorite.
And I'll read your favorite right away. Here we go with Donald Duckle. Say the magic words with me. Squeejum, squeejum, squilly chicka chack. Let's have music, you better quack quack. It's a very rainy day. Donald and his nephews come home and make a rush for the door. But the door is locked, and Donald can't find the key.
Are you sure we had it when we left?
Louie says,
Well, not positive.
and Huey exclaims,
It's not in the mailbox.
and Dewey says,
Or under the mat.
and Louie says,
Hey, why don't you bust the window? And spend $10. No, sir,
So Donald walks over to a tree that stands close to the house and starts to climb up. He tries again, but he can't make it.
Come on, Boost. Give me a push, will you? What's the matter with you? Give me a push.
So his nephews give him a push, and slowly Donald goes up the tree. Then he crawls out along a branch and drops from the tree onto the roof. And last picture, top row, he reaches down and opens an upstairs window. First picture, bottom row, he hangs onto the eaves.
Oh, boy. Hope I missed it.
And then swings himself through the window and lands on the floor. So hard, his head aches.
Oh, boy.
He staggers to his feet and weaves his way down the stairs,
Oh, wow.
his head aching harder with every step. And then he stops in amazement. For there, in the house at the foot of the stairs, stands Louie, Dewey, and Huey. And Dewey holds up the key in triumph and says proudly,
Louie had it in his hat.
and Donald exclaims,
Oh, I'm going to trouble.
Oh, poor Donald. After all that work to get in the house, climbing on the roof and everything, then he discovers that the boys had the key after all.
Yes, I don't blame him for being angry.
No, neither do I. Poor Donald, everything turns out the wrong way for him.
Yes. Well, now let's turn over the page and see who's there.
Oh, look, Dick's Adventure.
Yes, on the very last page of Puck the Comic Weekly. And as you remember, Dick is in the early days of America.
Yes, that's right. He's in Texas. And at that time, Texas had just won its freedom from Mexico
man, Jim Bowie, had heard that the Mexicans under General Santa Anna were on their way to attack the Texans again.
And so Dick and Jim Bowie, they rode out to investigate. Wonder what they will learn.
Well, let's read now and find out. Here we go with Dick's adventures. Say the magic words with me. Riggedy pack, a zack, a zick. Let's have music for Adventurous Dick. From the Texas bluffs overlooking the Rio Grande River, Dick and Jim Bowie sight General Santa Anna's advancing army, some 4,000 strong. Bowie says to Dick,
All right, Dick. We got to warn the others so we can prepare a defense.
Last picture top row, after a long, hard ride, they reach San Antonio. Learning the ominous news, the fighters for Texas independence make an immediate decision to fight. First picture, second row, General Sam Houston has saddled up and is ready to ride off to raise an army across Texas. Bowie says to Dick,
You better go with him, Dick. Nobody's got much of a chance here. And then he adds grimly, But I'm staying.
Last picture, second row, Dick looks over the assembled men. He sees that Davy Crockett, William Travis, and about 200 others are also making no attempt to leave.
Bowie drawls, Might be able to slow Santa Anna down a bit until Sam Houston gets his army ready.
First picture, bottom row, Bowie turns to Dick and says,
Well, go ahead, boy. Catch up with Sam before it's too late.
No. If you're staying, Jim, I'm staying. I'll stay and fight, too.
And last picture, all that day and all through the night, a small band of defenders move ammunition and supplies behind the strong walls of the deserted mission of the Alamo. And as dawn breaks, the dust of Santa Anna's approaching hordes is already rising above the nearby hilltops.
The Texans have only 200 men.
That's right, and 4,000 soldiers in the approaching Mexican army.
And the Texans are going to stay there and fight?
Yes, as Bowie said, they're going to fight a delaying action that'll hold the Texans for a while General Sam Houston can raise a big army.
Oh, but how can they ever hope to fight 4,000 soldiers?
Well, I'm wondering the same thing. And we'll find out more about that next week. But now look below Dick's adventures. There's Rusty Riley.
Oh, yes. And you remember, Rusty's at Denver Dooley's farm.
That's right. And when he got to the farm, he found that there were 2 crooks on the place who had locked Miss Dooley up in the attic.
Yes, Rusty discovered that when the 2 crooks were in town. And Rusty was going to call the police when the crooks came back and caught him with the phone in his hand.
And the crooks decided it was time to leave the place. And Trixie, the girl who seems to be the boss of the 2, had told Mel, who was posing as the hired man, to take care of Rusty and Miss Dooley.
I'm sure she means to do something dangerous to them. Wonder what it'll be.
Well, let's read now and find out. Here we go with Rusty Riley. Gallop and run till the road is dusty. Give us music for his horse and Rusty. Mel has put Miss Dooley in the back seat of the car. First picture, he tells Rusty,
All right, get behind the wheel of that car, kid, and drive to the place I tell you. I'll be in the back seat with a gun, so don't get any ideas.
Collie, you got poor Miss Dooley in there. You shouldn't do this. She's sick.
Second picture. Rusty's been directed to drive the car to a place out in the woods where a door opens to an underground room. As Rusty stops the car, he says,
What are we going to do here? This is just an old spring house.
Exactly. And it's going to be the permanent address of you and the old woman from now on.
Mel forces Rusty and Miss Dooley to get out of the car.
All right. Get in there.
Rusty and Miss Dooley go into the spring house. Last picture, top row. Mel starts to close the door. Rusty says,
Jeepers, mister, you can't leave us locked up in this place. Miss Dooley, she's awful sick. She'll die.
Yeah, very sad. But you shouldn't have been so nosy.
Meanwhile, first picture, bottom row, in the town of Honey Hollow, the banker and Jim Woods have come to talk to the sheriff. because they've been wondering why Miss Dooley hasn't been seen in town for some time. The sheriff is saying,
You say you think something's wrong out at the Dooley farm? Well, you better give me the facts, Sam.
Well, it's really just a hunch, Sheriff, but I agree with Jim Woods that it wouldn't hurt to run out there. Now, come on, Sheriff. I got my car outside.
Short time later, the sheriff and the two men are ringing Miss Dooley's doorbell.
Queer nobody answers the bell. Wait here. I'm going to take a look in the barn.
Yeah, there surely ought to be somebody around.
A few minutes later, the sheriff joins Jim and Sam at the house again.
Nothing in the barn but two half-starved horses. Come on, we're going in the house.
Jim Woods tries the door. Why, hey, the door isn't locked. They go into the house and find it a shambles.
Good night. Look at this room.
Yeah, looks like they made a quick getaway. But darned if I know why.
They go out of the house again. Rusty's dog Flip sees them and runs about barking nervously. Last picture, Jim Woods exclaims,
Hey, wait a minute, Sheriff. That pup was with the boy who cashed the check in my feed store. Now, look, he's sure acting funny.
The sheriff and the others came there.
So am I, but it's too bad they didn't get there a little sooner.
Yes, then they could have caught the crooks before they locked Rusty and Miss Dooley out.
Yes, they would have. But don't forget, though, they see Rusty's dog Flip.
Oh, yes, and maybe Flip will lead them to where Rusty's locked up.
Well, let's hope he does. We'll find out next week if that happens. Now, that's all the time I have. But before I go, here's that nice fellow with some more interesting information. Well, honey, and all you boys and girls, I've got to go now.
All right, Mr. Comic Weekly Man, but I'll be waiting for you next week.
Okay, that's a date. And a date with all you boys and girls. Be sure to meet me with our little friend, Miss Honey, next week when I read Puck the Comic Weekly. For I'm the Comic Weekly Man, the jolly Comic Weekly Man. I'll be back to read the funnies to you happy boys and honey. Don't forget, boys and girls, see you all next week. Your friend, the Comic Weekly Man, the jolly Comic Weekly Man.